listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 144, Weeks of Turning. Earlier last week, we saw an escalation in our international situation. We are referring to the heavy bombs being dropped on a capital city, which we talked about in the last episode. There has been an escalation, and with it, immense motion, and we feel this motion in our bodies, and we feel this motion between one another in our daily interactions. There is a restless energy. There is a sense of thinking, I need to do something. There is something I must do. Whatever I am doing or not doing right now is simply not enough. This is how we think right now. Since these bombs, we have entered a couple of weeks of turning. Today's episode is called Weeks of Turning, and this is a way of saying that the motion that is moving right now, during a couple of weeks, it will be perceived to us as turbulence. We will not be able to discern or categorize as easily as we usually can. There will be a sense of confusion. There will be a sense of shame that we simply are not enough. And we will mistake these feelings of confusion and shame to be our personal feelings. However, they are not. They are our collective feelings as a consequence of these bombs and the fear from these bombs. We fear bombs. It is not strange that we feel restless as this has happened. It is normal. The bombs in themselves are not normal, but our reaction to them is. In these weeks of turning, this motion, this fear that we all share, this confusion, this shame, this alertness that we all feel. One train of thought that we all will experience in some way is what we just touched upon, the sense of what is normal and what is not normal. These weeks of turning that we now are in will, in one of its expressions, feel to us like this sense of that we must come to terms with what is normal and what is abnormal. What is in group and what is out group. We will find ourselves thinking, am I in group or am I out group? Am I normal or am I abnormal? Whether we like it or not, more or less consciously, we will, in these weeks now, these weeks of turning, we will think a bit more than usual about different parts of ourselves, different aspects. What parts of me are deemed normal? What parts of me are deemed not normal, abnormal? We are in a couple of insecure weeks. These bombs and what is happening around those events trigger insecure feelings in us. It is easier to think about insecurities than to think about the actual bombs. It is a quite childlike reaction, and it is in all of us. It is easier to think about oneself instead of thinking about an external looming danger that is outside our control. So we think about normal, we think about abnormal, we think about in-group, out-group. And these thoughts are difficult to carry without losing our footing once in a while. it is difficult to think in terms of normal or abnormal. It makes us lose our balance at times. We might find ourselves in outbursts. We might find ourselves reacting prickly, or experience ourselves being more sensitive to something, more easily offended by something. The motion, the emotional motion from these bombs last week and the aftermath, it will prove difficult to just stand on our 2 feet solidly. We will lose our footing momentarily. So, better than expecting of ourselves to never lose our footing. It's not really realistic. More realistic is to expect that we at some point will lose our footing momentarily, but that it won't be the end of the world. It's just momentarily. So, okay, now I lost my footing. It's not nice, it's not good, but it's not the end of the world. I will find my footing soon enough again. So we need to expect making mistakes right now, a few of them. It's not realistic to deal with the emotions of bombs without making mistakes. It's simply not realistic. And also important to remind ourselves that it will take a couple of weeks at least to grow somewhat accustomed to how it feels now. The energy in the air, the social tensions between one another, they simply feel somewhat different now. Like if you have ever looked inside this sort of toy, this sort of a kaleidoscope, when you can twist like twist the kaleidoscope and the shapes and patterns and colors change. It's like that. With these bombs, the kaleidoscope was turned. And now we are in these weeks, at least weeks, of turning, when the patterns and the colors are changing. And at first it will just feel awful. We will not know what goes where, who is who are we. It will just feel very confusing at first. And that is why we pause for a second or two and know that this change is time-limited change. We will get used to it. Might take some time, yes, a few weeks or so, but we will get used to it. What is important is to expect the difficulty of it. Expect difficulty. What is important is not telling ourselves that we should be able to, or we should do, or we must not, or we must this. And I hope that you, during this episode, have been able to hear in my voice that I am also somewhat off balance by this event, by these bombs. It was a terrible thing, and it feels terrible to have to deal with its aftermath. It is terrible to catch ourselves. It's terrible to try to keep our footing with all this fear, both inside and between one another. So I hope that you remind yourself that you hear the fear also in my voice. We are all trying our best, but we are fearful. We cannot avoid feeling fearful, not in the face of something as devastating as these heavy bombs. It's simply terrible. So, in conclusion, we have two things which are true at the same time. What just happened and the weeks we are in right now, the weeks of turning, are terrible. They are terrible. And that's the first. And the second is that all the while it is terrible, still we pause for a second or two, for as long as we need. We lose our footing from these weeks feeling terrible, and then momentarily we lose our footing, and then we pick ourselves up. We pause for a second or two, and then we make something of it. We lose our footing, we pause. We lose our footing again, we pause. That's it for today. Thank you.